you can actually see the pronation. Because at that time we think that we were using the wrist. And at that time we started to understand a little bit more. So I'm going to talk to you about this, our responsibility to use and utilize technology in a way and also communicate differently with this important matter. There are tons of technology programs out there, and there is coming up one new every year, every day I mean, or every week. And every time it's like someone wants to say, hey, I found some new stuff here. And of course, there are match analysis programs and analysis programs for technique. We have apps to find everything out there. And of course, the sensors are now coming more and more into the racket. You can put it on the body. And of course, the intelligence will also bring into the computer game. So, you know, the programs or management programs are there. So it's all there. And they are all here to help us. But the problem is that all this technology and all the testing information give us more or less all answers. The problem for me and for you guys is this, that what we don't get is how to make players change by using this information. That's the tricky part, because we know that players from red, orange, green all the way up, they have a tendency to, they want to improve, but if you give them things and you give them this information in the wrong sequence, they will not change. So this is my background. This year is 40 years ago I met Dennis Vandermeer in New York, and he said, I think that you can become a good tennis coach. And for those 40 years I've been on the court for 37,500 hours, and with this experience, and of course used technology for 30 years, it's been quite obvious what is working and what is not working. I've been working with several players, and some of them I can't even mention because it's like you work under the radar. But with working with Casper and top athletes like this, we know for sure, and I remember the first time I met Kim Kleisters, she did not want this. She said that I don't need to see what I can't do. And what we did with her after that, we gave her what she could do. We gave her the highlights. So, a little bit about my background, but let's get it started. This is what I do. And see the first line. It says, I try all the time to find highlights. I analyze matches, I come up with some interpretational stats, but I do this for every level of play. I do this for the 10-year-olds, and I do that for the very best players. So what it looks like is this: when you have highlights from Casper, and you can't really see, but this is highlights from one of his matches when he played last week in Rio. And what I do for him and for the team is always try to make highlights from matches. Even if he's losing, you might find something that is working really nice. Other things I do, I give them like scores, you know, where are they serving? And of course, if you know that 64% is coming to your backhand on the second serve, you can be a little bit prepared for that. You come up with easy information that are relevant to the player. And the shorter and the sweeter it is, the better it is. Of course, after the match, we know that these days the top players get like 12, 13 pages of information. But all I do is that I try to compress this into a half a page of information that is relevant and what the coaches are asking for. We also do still pictures, and I do more and more still pictures, because still pictures is like you can't discuss the still picture. If I show even a slow-mo clip, it will sometimes be something that the coach will discuss. Well, I don't think it is this, but now when you show point of contact here and you show this, it's easy to really get the word across. I also put up pictures where we do the strobe, where you do 22 pictures a second, so you can really go into where is it, and that's also where the doctor is doing the scanning. They try to find out, so you can point out what picture is really what you're working on, what should you be aware of. And the more we work with this, because I've been doing videos. I do like 250 matches a year, and I edit them at thousands and thousands of clips like this every year. But what you have to do is to try to figure out how to interact and how to make them believe and make them change. And I will get into that method a little bit later. Of course, this was earlier today, but with Casper, who is working with the Nadal team. So I'm here helping them with some interesting information about this backhand slice. You will see that again. You can see that, with a two-handed player, it's not really natural to do this. You see it's coming too quick down. But again, it's information that you want to gather just to make sure that the team is working on something. So why do we do this? Why do we use technology? And if you talk for 2 seconds with the person next to you, 2 things that you think why we use technology for 30 seconds. Ask the next name, and then say why do we use technology? 30 seconds. Okay, if you take a look, everything you said was right. There are so many different reasons why we do this, but look at this, what I think. It's a great communication tool. It helps you communicate. When you want something to be communicated the right way, you can use technology. You get facts. Gregor Sommerset said that, when I listened to him about what do you do with Novak, he said, I give them facts. The problem is that so many people, players get that fact on a club level base, they get the fact, but they're not doing anything with it. Well, act on facts. It should motivate coaches and players. If you don't motivate them by using technology, you're using technology wrong. Make them understand more. Make them more knowledgeable about the game. Work smarter and more accurate, quality with a purpose, and of course, this is big. We guys, you need to look different. Sometimes I'm teaching the same way I did for 40 years ago. It's bad. If I just bring the bucket on the court and I feed tennis balls and I tell them what's wrong, that's what I did when I was 19. We have to do that different now. We have to use technology, pictures, stats, sensors to make the audience know more, to understand more, to get more motivated. Because if we just bring the basket on the ball, we have not really done any development since the 70s and 90s. So we have to do that. We have to use this on a daily basis. And someone said to me, because earlier this week we had a course, and someone said to me, but we don't have time. That's not true. you have time on the court. Because when you leave, you are done with the documentation. You don't want to do what I did for many, many years. I videotaped and I went back and I worked for 2 hours back home with everything, and then I understand that you're not going to do it. But now when we have apps and we have all the information we have, you can do that on the court. So the students outside off the court, everything is done. Because again, if we don't do that, this is what we are competing against, and it shows a picture of a computer game. Because in real life, the computer game business is taking our kids away from sports. 86% of all kids in Norway under 12 do sports. By the time they're 15, we are the most inactive. They are the most inactive group in Europe, because they are so wealthy that they can go back home and they can get entertained with technology on a daily basis because of the computer games. So I'm telling you, we have to fight this. We have to do our job, our profession, to make it more fancy, to make it more modern, to communicate better with the players. I made a website for Norway where I took the Canadian LTAD program, I took the LTA program and Belgian program and put it together into a website. It doesn't give you any information because it's Norwegian, but I showed some of the coaches here earlier this week, and we should probably translate it to English. Because what this was is, and I can show you. I can show you really quick. This is, again, back to, I click here, and it comes up a website saying, welcome to a player guide. It's a guide for players, parents, and coaches. You click here on tennis player, the other one say wheelchair tennis player. I click on tennis player, and there's a video here of Casper saying, I did everything right, that's why I'm 94 in the world right now. But here, that's our model, where we say active start, 6 to 12, mastering, learning the game, competition, and high performance. But of course, tennis for life. So even if you don't make it this way, you can stay in the game. So here's the thing that I think we all have to do, is if I click H, and I go 13 to 15, I go competition. There is another guy saying something smart, but here. Player tasks. So this is like what the players should do. This is what the coaches should do. So it's transparent. Parents need to understand now, and this is what parents need to do. And it's a guideline of how many hours you should, how many matches a year, what kind of tournaments, how many hours a week, how many of them should be practiced on your own. This is how many weeks of the year you should probably do something else but tennis. And of course, it's a guideline also for how to tactically play the game, technically play the game, physically stay in shape, stay without injuries, and mentally what to work on in this age and level. So that's a website that I think is important for a small country like Norway, where we can't really miss anyone that starts to play. We just have to get them and keep them in the game for the rest of their life. All right. And I did it because, you know, we have to find out, how do we find information these days? And it's here. You click here and you find the information. Within 4 clicks you will find the relevant information about this game. If you're a coach, parent, player, or manager in a club. We'll look into that and see if we can get that into English this year. Then is my method. What do I do when I work with players to make sure that I take the information I have and make them change? Make them want to change, make them motivated, make them say yes. If you Kim Kleisters, if you are John, who's coming there, 10 years old, how do you want them to stay motivated? And of course, we do all the drills, we do all the talking, we do all the energy, we are energetic on the court, but there are a couple of other things. So I call it 10 techniques. And the first is to collect evidence. That's easy. That's the easy part. That's to put up a camera, that is to use the app that PTR, costs $5 now to do things that earlier cost quite a lot more. Then look at the E. That's the essence and interaction. That's number 2. And Michelle said it, if you don't tell the players what you are trying to do, lots of players feel they're under surveillance. If you put up a camera, you don't tell them. And I work with so many female players on the tour, and sometimes they say, they see their hair, and so you have to be careful and to tell them what you're trying to do. You have to make sure that they understand that, because it's so powerful that you just don't want to put up a camera or put a sensor on them and not tell them why and tell them how you can do this and why you're doing it. You have to customize communication. I will get back to this. You have to do the feedback with the motivation. The feedback must be motivated. The interventions, when you send them back home and you tell them what to do, this must be something that they're looking forward to so they can practice on their own. And of course, it must be a link between what you find here and what you practice on the court. Because if you don't spend time and understand this part, and if you do what I did for many years, I took the evidence and I told them what was wrong. And all of us have done that. All of us have done that more than built it in a methodical way. And of course, I'm talking about these two here today. And if you go through my course, that is a 3-hour course, we will take you through all this and even bring you on the court to work with you. So you can, within 3 hours, you can get out there and you can find it. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Do you have your course online at all, or?
So we filmed it, and it will be online. So we will put this course online very shortly. Okay. So we will bring you through all this, and you will be amazed. The first thing I tell the group is to film your partner. And tell your partner 3 things you like about the forehand. That's a tough one. Because our eyes is trained to see what's wrong. But what I do most of the time to make sure that they interact in the right way is to find out what is right with your forehand. What can I do? And remember, we talked about 3 to 1 when it comes to feedback, that it should be 3 positive things and 1 thing that you can, maybe work on. I learned now that it's 9 to 1 to really make people have a positive feedback experience. So we have to be really careful. So here, capture videos. Do it in video in practice or in a competition. Of course, in competition you really see what can be worked on. From charting, you can find sensors, testing. All these are things you can do on the court. And I tell so many saying, well, we don't have time to do. You don't have to do the whole match. But if you put up a camera and you videotape real time 4 games, you start and stop every time between points. That will give you 5 minutes of match play. After the 5 minutes, you will find things that is right and things that can work on. So you don't have to spend an awful lot of time like I do, 250 matches, full matches that I put in my computer every year, to help players, coaches to work on the game. But you can take 4 games. 2 service games, 2 return games, and you can find what you need to look at. So this is the coach. If you don't have this, it goes to $5, and it is so nice. We took it from the Australian app, and you can write, you can do everything, and of course we in the course, this is what we show you how to use. Bill was here, and you used it. Bill, you're an expert now, isn't that so? I know.
It's a great app.
Yeah, you tried it?
Yeah, you can use like what they show you like what something should look like or what you think.
Yeah.
And you can do all of
Yeah, you can compare. Yes.
feedback and then positive feedback and say this is we're gonna make this adjustment. It's one of the best apps out there.
Yeah, and if you again, you find when they do something right, that's what you focus on. And what you're waiting for them to ask, can you show me when I'm not doing it? And that's when you say, hey, I will show you. So be smart, use it, $5. It's so this is like things that I do with Casper. I use Casper here because that's like a guy I can use. Pictures, I can use him. It's not easy to just do this with anyone. So you can do still pictures, you can make drawings, you can have angles, you can see what the angle is here, and you can see the angle here. You can do all that things that you know biomechanically that is important.
What was the player plan part of the app?
Okay, the play plan. If you click here, you can plan long-term, short-term goals, but you can also assess by clicking. You will be able to click and assess forehands and all the different, mostly technically things on the court. But you can also make like comments, and all this here is very easy to share. So the minute you have made a report, you can share, send it out, and again you look like a pro because you document on court and it's sent from the court and you don't have to worry. And it's a documentation that we tennis coaches are not necessarily that good at. So it's all there. But again, this is probably the most important part, and I will spend a little bit more time here. They have to be part of the process. If they are not part of the process, if they are not like they understand what you're trying to achieve, don't do it. It's okay. So make sure that the players do something. Let them know what you do, and also give them tasks. Say, I videotape you. Take a look and see what you think. So they can do what you sometimes think that you are the only one to do. You give them the task. You tell them what do you think. How many winners did you do last time? What do you think about your balance? What do you think about the in-between points? What do you think about all the facts? And they can reflect. You don't have to be the only one reflecting or make an observation. They can do the same. And let the parents be involved. Don't leave them out. They need to know. You have to educate them. They can hold up a camera. They can videotape from the side. They can do things. And of course, you have to train them because otherwise they will maybe do things that you don't think they should do. But in this you can control the parents and give them things to do during tournaments, during practices, and give you something that you can work on. Because they want us to give them information. The players, if you ask them, they want us to inspire and communicate with them and share information. It is not like I don't want that. Of course, some players, like Tim said, well, don't want to see what I'm doing things wrong. Then of course you change. But you change the whole setup. You let them see what they like to see, and you ask them, and you want to find out who they are. Because again, during the customized communication, you also have to find out who they are. Because who are they? Some of them are visual, so they use words like show me. But other times they use it like, can you explain to me? Or I have to feel. And then you have to do like both things. You can show them, but you can also ask them, go out and try. Because they are probably visual, verbal, or kinesthetic learners. And most of them, the best players, are a combination of visual and kinesthetic most of the time. most of the time. The feedbacks must be in a coaching environment, more asking questions. The intervention must be something that they feel immediately and is something that they feel that is right. And a aha feeling where you're feeling, I now understand. Of course, they need to understand the purpose of what they do. And they need to feel that when they practice. So, tennis is an open skill sport. If we do this right, we discover, we see it's going to be a forehand, we make a decision, it's a forehand, so we're going to hit the forehand. We execute the forehand, and then the last thing here. If we do this right, if we communicate and use this information right, the kids, the players, doesn't matter what level, they will give themselves feedback. They will understand more. They know what and why things happen. And I can tell you that I was, as a player, this feedback, I was told from the side what to do. So every time I was sitting and making a mistake, I looked around and I said, you can tell me what happened? Because I didn't really know anything. I just did this, but I didn't give myself feedback. So I didn't learn tennis until someone said, hey,